What's up everyone, I'm Delete, and today I've got a special treat for you. We're diving into a unique Stellaris playthrough where I let my community create their own empire to see how mine would interact with them. The twist? Every single empire had to be a human civilization. I thought we'd all get along like one big happy family. But things took a very different turn. In this playthrough, my goal isn't just to conquer all Xenos, enslave them, and rule the galaxy, though that's definitely an option. Instead, I'm here to roleplay my empire, making decisions that not just benefit myself, but all of mankind. And if that means I need to take down one of our fellow humans to reach the endgame, well, I'll do what's necessary. So, let's jump in and see how humanity fares when we're all trying to stake our claim in the galaxy. It's going to be one wild ride. Alright, so when I started working on this video, I had reached out to my Discord community and I said, hey guys, I need you to create human empires for me. And they did not fail to impress. We had over 10 submissions, and we're going to start this thing off by looking at the beginning of the game and how we set this thing up. And so the empire that I picked is called the Cobarian Empire. And pretty much I wanted to go down the diplomatic route. I wanted my species to be xenophiles, and we're playing with the Mechanist origin. Alright, so since the first Cobarian communities formed on Cyber 1, our civilization has grown. Despite our technological progress, we were divided and inefficient. Some resisted, but after a few wars, they joined the unified society. Now, with the discovery of the hyperlane network, we've developed our first hyperdrives. The stars are now within our reach. Now, as you can see here, we are starting off on the edge of the galaxy with literally one hyperlane leading to our home system. And so I start by surveying, and I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here before we get pinched in the galaxy. I select my technology to research. And at this point, I'm kind of under pressure because we need to get out of these systems. And so I go to my council next. I see what my leaders are looking like. And then after that, I'm gonna go check my policies and edicts. For the most part, all the policies are set the way I need them to be. Now, my fleets, they're gonna go out and explore systems. My scientists are gonna survey. And the last thing that we want is a first contact situation. That's exactly what we get. And so now I'm like, whoa. This is way too soon for this, and it is literally the next system away from us. And so we get this contact report to my species, letting them know, hey, first contact's happening. And what I find next horrifies me. There is another empire here. And so our first contact situation has turned into a nightmare now because there's other Xenos right next to us. And so I go to my ship designer. I'm like, hey, we got to start building up fleets. I got to get ready because if these guys are hostile, this is going to be an early game for us. And so here are just some of the ways that I refit my ships. I don't mind playing tall, but not that tall. And so now I'm going to go ahead and select my first tradition. We're going with unyielding. I'm going on the defense. This has a lot of star-based modifiers as well as an agenda. Speaking of agendas, we are going to go back to our council and we're going to launch the infinite opportunities, which is going to increase my pop's happiness. And the next step, I'm going to go for impenetrable border. This increases my star-based hull points. It gives me a couple of other modifiers as well. Now, we've expanded to the system right next to this empire. My goal is to try to get past them. And so I'm going to go ahead and level up my leader here really quick. And then there's a habitable world in this system as well, so we'll get that, but I'm trying to jump on the other side of them. Mission success. Not only that, we get an archaeological dig site, and this puts us in a really good position because now I've expanded my borders on both sides of what this empire is known as the Industria Imperium. And so we go ahead and finalize our first contact situation with them, and I try to respond to them with a positive response. Now, here is what it looks like. I'm probably going to close my borders off to them just temporarily so that we can expand some more, but now we have an advantage over another empire. All right, so we've already made first contact with another empire. I believe things went well. We've expanded our borders, and we're expanding some more. We're gonna go ahead and dive into our second tradition tree, and that's gonna be discovery. I wanted to get through this tree because I knew that we are going to be making more first contact situations here in the future. Why not increase the trust of other empires while we're at it? Now, we find some ancient mining drones that are blocking us off a little bit deeper in the galaxy, but we're gonna get to them in just a second. Now I'm starting to get favors from the Industrial Empire, and I think I might try to vassalize them a little bit earlier on. We start finding other things like Gaia worlds, which I cannot wait to colonize this as well. We just gotta get our borders over to it, but that is gonna be a very resourceful planet for us later on in the game. Now, to the north, we start to notice there is another empire up there, and at first I thought they were aquatics. No, they're the Suvera Spiritual Dynasty. These guys are pretty receptive of us right off the back, and so that is a good sign. They're cooperative as well. So what I start to do is I improve relations with them, and I establish an embassy with them. We also find out they have a natural wormhole in one of their systems, and so this could be very good for us, or very bad for all of us. Only time will tell. Now, I'm trying to get to the Zarqlan patch systems, but the mining drones are blocking us in. And so through this period of time, I'm trying to build my fleets up so we can get ready to push through this. And then we'll see if we can get past these guys. All right, so a couple of years later, I finished the diplomacy tradition tree. I get an extra envoy, my diplo weight's been increased, and then I go ahead and select the One Vision Ascension perk, and increases a little bit of my unity as well. I go over to the Industria Imperium Empire, and I propose subjugation to them. At first, they were a little hesitant towards it, but I changed up the agreement a tad bit, and then they agreed. And then they accept. And so now we have our first subject. At first, they were a little unloyal to us, but with the building relations agenda I just selected, that helped us change things. Now that Gaia world I mentioned, we colonized it, but we had some robots that did not want me to build certain types of buildings on the planet. We agreed with it. Hey, we get a Gaia world, and you can't argue with that. And so after that, we've upgraded our fleets a bit, and now it's time for me to reinforce a few more so that we can send them up to attack the mining drones. A couple more years pass by, I finished the Unyielding Tradition tree, and for my second Ascension perk, I look through here to see what we want to pick next, and I decide I'm just going to go with Shared Destiny. This gives me 2 extra envoys. That'll help me with diplomacy a little bit later on in the game, and it helps me with more subjects. And speaking of subjects, I look out to the Suvera Spiritual Dynasty Empire, I modify the agreement, and now I am the overlord of 2 empires. Alright, so it is time to explore the rest of the galaxy. I've built up a fleet strong enough to take on the ancient mining drones. Thanks to the advancements of our technology, our ships were able to move faster than the drones. After a pretty decent battle, we get past them, and now the Zarqlan patch is open for us. And of course, what we find on the other side? More humans. Starting with the Hill Divers, we send them a friendly response. This empire rivaled me from the beginning. They only wanted problems, and I tried to make things work with them. They declared me a rival, and here we are. And so what I start to do is I start building defensive bases up. I put gun batteries and torpedo batteries on them. I built defensive platforms. I'm ready for war with these guys. I try improving relations with them. Nothing seemed to work. After that, we find 2 more empires out there in the galaxy. We found the Uplifted World Care Empire and Aldemir. Both empires, I choose to respond in a friendly way. We try to build relations right off the back. And at this point, now more human empires are starting to pop up in the galaxy. And so the Hill Divers, they're back at it again. They're sending me an insult. And so while that's going on, I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and form a non-aggression pact with the dwarves. And the dwarves are sending refugees to my planets. And so after that, we find the Grand Imperium Empire, and they have the same border color as the Hill Divers. So this makes me think, hey, these 2 empires may have some sort of alliance. Since the Hill Divers are rivaling me, I'm going to get ready to go to war with both of them. And so I start reinforcing my fleets. I get everything set up. I go over to the Industria Imperium Empire, and I'm like, hey, look, you guys only have 1 system. Let me integrate you, and we can be stronger together under one banner. So next, we make first contact with the Tactical Union Empire. They're located a little bit closer to the inner circle of the top sphere of the galaxy. Where they stand at with relation to the other empires, we're not sure just yet, but I'm going to try to improve relations with them. Now, Industria Enterprise eventually ends up accepting the integration. I now have their home planet Forge Heart, which is a part of our empire now, and I spend a little bit of time just kind of fixing up the world, changing around some jobs and things like that. I get rid of the robot assembly plant because it's burning into my alloys and I needed energy credits at the time. There was a lot of unemployed pops in the world too, so I just kind of spread them out across all of my planets. At this point, I went through the prosperity tradition. This is my third tradition tree that I've finished. And now we have a new ascension perk. And so for the next ascension perk, I bounce back and forth between synthetic evolution and the flesh is weak, but eventually I give in to the flesh is weak so that I can gain access to the cybernetics tradition tree. Next up, we make first contact with another human empire. This is the Garanshu Sacrosanct Covenant Empire. They are zealots and they're located a few systems down towards the south of my borders. Everything seems to be going good so far for humanity. There are some empires that are at war with each other right now, but I think we're going to be okay.
War has been declared against us.
Alright, so it's come down to this. We are officially at war. The Galactic community has also formed, and so talk about bad timing, but now we know where all the other human empires are. And so, as much as I would like to spend time using diplomacy with these guys, I'd have to focus on the battle that's ahead of us. And so right away, I send my ships into the Hill Divers territory. For my next tradition, I go with Supremacy. That way we can get some more military modifiers. And on top of that, I have my fleets and the Industria Enterprise fleets combined, and we are ready to take this thing to the Hill Divers right at the front. And so the Zachariah patch systems, there are ships moving everywhere. War has broken out in this area that we were trying to explore earlier, and I think the Hill Divers are a little upset that we claimed those systems. Systems are being claimed. Everything hostility-wise is happening right now. Alright, and so while this is going on, the Eskira and New Imperial Order Empire end up going to war. We're not going to focus on them right now. We're going to look at our stats. Here's what's happening in our conflict, and right now it's a lot of guerrilla warfare style, pop in, pop out, attack here, let them take a system. We went down the unyielding tradition tree, and so there you can see some of my defensive platforms kicking in at work. They did overwhelm a couple of my systems here, but it's going down. I'm almost panicking a little bit because there's just so much action happening here. And so we're bombarding some of their worlds. They come in to attack us. We destroy them. They take out some of our bases. Apparently the New Imperial Order got destroyed really quickly. So I don't know what happened over there, but for now, we're just gonna focus up in this area for a bit. And so one thing that just ticks me off is they surrender, but they end up taking 2 of our systems away. I'm furious. And so I get back to focusing on discovering things, and I find the Psionic Archive Relic. This thing is nice. So if I were to activate this thing, I can use it in 3 different ways. I can use it to increase my leader's level by 1, giving them an extra trait. I can increase ship weapon damage by 20%, or I can increase stability, edict upkeep, and governing ethics attractions. And so now I've completed a galactic administration technology that gives me an extra civic slot. Then I'm going to go ahead and start by reforming my government. So I'm going to keep my first 2 civics, and I'm going to look through here, and I think I'm going to go with functional architecture, since earlier on I had filled up a lot of my worlds with population. And so now that's going to open up an extra building slot, and I'm just going to use these building slots to add some more technology so that we can research more weaponry faster. But the Great Imperium, they closed their borders to me. This has been a few years now since the war with the Hill Divers, but things are going to brew up again. They're still hostile towards us, and I haven't forgiven them for the systems they've taken from us. And so I'm like, yeah, let's go for round 2 then. I'm going to manage some more claims here. You can already see I've claimed a lot of their systems as is. Here, I'm going to claim so much more. It is time to conquer them. And so we have declared our second war on the Hill Divers. Tactical Union below us, they're friendly, but we haven't built any trust with them, so I'm not able to really do anything with this empire just yet. I'm trying to improve relations with them, and as you can see here, I already have a lot of envoys improving relations with them. And so now we're back at it. I got my fleets here in position before this war even broke out. Now we are going to get our revenge on the Hill Divers. So at this point, we're back to square one. We're attacking bases, only this time we got a lot more going for us. I built up my ships a lot stronger. I'm now completing the Supremacy Tradition tree, and for my next Ascension perk, I go with Technological Ascendancy. Earlier, I was building all those research labs on my planets. I want that technology. And then a couple of months later, we get our next tradition, which is going to be politics. All right, so we're gonna go over to our edicts, and while this war is going on, this time around, I'm gonna make sure that I activate all of my combat edicts, and this just makes me cut through their empire like a warm knife slicing through some butter. They didn't stand a chance. We come back, we bombard their planets, we literally dominate them until they send us a peace offering, which I'm like, nope, you guys should have thought about that before you took my systems. And so now, the Aldemir Empire is at war with the Hill Divers as well. Now we have an ally attacking them on the other side, an unofficial ally at that, but this war is going perfectly for us. And so now we've reached 100% war exhaustion. They're at war exhaustion, and I'm just like, hey, let's just settle the status quo. I'm gonna take more systems than what you took from us before. We're gonna call it a day. Now, I was trying to form a defensive pact with the Tactical Union, but again, we still don't have any trust, and so I didn't realize it at the time, but I'm still sending them more and more envoys. They're protective of us, so that makes me a little worried that they may think that they want to rule over me. But no, yeah, we're good. So as long as I keep them on our good side, I'm good. Meanwhile, we're gonna go at war with the Hill Divers for a third time, and this time, I'm like, look, let's just put an end to this empire. We've been at war plenty of times. The third time is more than enough. Let's end this thing. And so once again, rinse and repeat. I pretty much just grab all of my fleets. This time I use the psionic guidance to increase my ship weapon damage, and we just steamroll these guys. We're really giving them the business this time around. And so I've taken a few more of their systems. Like I said, their bases are a piece of cake. We're just literally entering a system, conquering it, moving on to the next. Now, I don't want to do this to all the other humans, but it just happens. We do an archaeological dig site that eventually gets us our first renowned paragon, who is the Oracle. And this Oracle is a very good official. I assigned them to one of my worlds to govern for a bit. And yeah, that's a very useful character to have. So the Hill Divers, they offer me peace. Once again, I'm taking 6 systems from them. Got a little bit of border gore here, but no worries. We get more systems than I'm even knowing what to do with. I start building orbital rings around some of the planets that we conquered from them. That way, if they decide to attack us again, well, good luck. We've fortified not only our defenses, but the entire planet. And now the galaxy is starting to kind of shape up in our favor here. So let's go back to our traditions. Over some time, I finished my politics tradition tree. And for our next Ascension perk, I'm gonna go with, let's see here, got a couple of options, but I think I'm gonna go with Galactic Contender. All right, and so we're back at it again, but this time, this is the fall of the Hill Divers. The Tactical Union decided to declare war against them, and I could not let them take all of the systems and planets that the Hill Divers had, so I decided to join in on this conflict. The Hill Divers don't have many systems left after this battle, and if it can help my somewhat allies, the Alderan Dwarf Empire, grow a little bit, then sure, that's a win for us as well. All right, and so I've been contemplating, hey, should we attack the Tactical Union? And I look at what would happen if we declared war on them. It would literally be a 1v5. Now, what worries me is that I see the tacticians now attacking the Grand Imperium, and they are rolling all over them right now. And so now I'm starting to reach out to the Estakira Empire, and I'm trying to form relationships, or better relationships. I would eventually like to form a federation with them, but their acceptance is just at -95. And so now I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's take all the envoys that I had on the Tactical Union Empire, and let's switch them over to improve our relations with the Estakira Empire. Now, after Aldemir's war is over, they decide they want to have an agreement with us. And I'm like, yes, you guys seem to be having some trouble with the Tactical Union. The Tactical Union have pretty much annihilated the Grand Imperium. And so after this, I'm starting to work on the statecraft tradition tree so that my council can be more effective and get a little extra experience. I go over here to my home systems and I'm starting to build more of the Dyson swarms. These are newer megastructures that increase the star output of the sun in that system. And so if you have a sun that produces energy credits, you'll be able to produce up to 1,500% and even more if you keep upgrading it. And so I had a lot of fun creating these. Also, I've colonized every planet so far, and so now I'm starting to build more habitats, and there you can see it. The Hill Divers are back at war with the Tactical Union again. And so while that's all going on, I'm going over to the slave market. I'm buying pops off the market as quickly as I can. I'm trying to reach out to see if I can form this federation, and the Eskira Empire is just like, nah, we're not having that right now. I try to form defensive pacts with them, which they do agree with. I had to use some favors for it, but we got a defensive agreement going with them now, which at least that helps me in case the Tactical Union decides they want to attack me. Now, again, I checked that federation acceptance. It's increased a little bit. It's at -72 now, but hey, we just got to try and chip away with what we got. I'm still activating that psionic relic that I found, and I'm using it to level up my leaders like I'm doing right here. And so some of my leaders, they are organic, so they still tend to die pretty frequently. But man, with that relic I have, you can really upgrade your leaders and make them much more valuable than what they would be without that relic. And so here's my council. I got mostly renowned paragons on it. The Tactical Union here has closed their borders to me, and so I'm expecting the worst. I'm like, yeah, here we go. I'm ready for it. If you guys are going to declare war on me, here they are insulting me now. Bring it. I mean, if you guys want to do that, we can do that. I go back to Aldemir and I'm like, let's form that defensive agreement. And so now I have finished the statecraft tradition, and it is time for me to select my 6th ascension perk. And so I'm scrolling around here, and Eternal Vigilance, it is a must. I gotta increase all of my starbase capabilities. Here I'm declaring the Tactical Union a rival, and at this point it's bound to happen. The Hill Divers are almost, they're literally just subjects at this point, so they're no longer a threat to me. It's all eyes on the Tactical Union, and that's when I find the Head of Zarqlan. This right here has changed the game for me. And so now this allows me to summon a small Fallen Empire fleet, and on top of this makes one of the Fallen Empires, you know, a little bit more cooler with me now. The Holy Guardians are like, yeah, we see you representing the Head of Zarqlan. I immediately start building the fleets, and here are some of the ships from the Head of Zarqlan that I built. I'm like, yo, I'm still contemplating declaring war on them, but it's still too many empires versus mine. I feel like I would get overwhelmed. And so we're gonna jump over to the Galactic community now. I'm going to propose my own resolution. I would like to declare the Tactical Union a crisis. And so I put this in the proposal queue, and I am on the council. When this resolution is on the Senate, I use every single favor that I have acquired. This is why I went down that politics tree. And when I say I'm calling in every favor, I'm calling in everything. Now, this does cost me a lot of influence, but it is worth it, because if we can defeat a foe that is at our borders, if it keeps my empire safe, I'm all for it. And so, besides building a bunch of megastructures, I'm building a ton of these because the Head of Zarqlan is costing me a lot of energy credits. I'm building star bases and defensive platforms and arc furnaces, building everything that I possibly can, because all war is about to break out again. At first it was the Hill Divers, now it's the Tactical Union. I feel like when these empires get so strong, it's literally, you have to clash. I mean, it's bound to happen. And so, yeah, now pretty much every empire is buckling up here because it's about to go down. We have now declared the Tactical Union a crisis. And so their empire, along with their subjects, have left the Galactic community. And so now they're all at war with them. We got the war declaration from each other empire. When I first saw this, I was a little confused. Even the Galactic market, it got moved. And there it is. The Galactic crisis has been declared. The Tactical Union is a threat upon all sapient life. and a crisis of galactic proportions. Mission accomplished. Now the Tactical Union and all of their subjects will be at war with the rest of the galaxy. And so I grab my fleets. There are fleets all over the place. I use extra dimensional fleets as well as the Head of Zarqlan, and it is on site. Ships everywhere, duking it out. We had a massive battle with these guys. It was absolutely glorious. And literally, one of my favorite things in Stellaris is watching a powerful empire crumble. I like watching the powers tilt, the scales switch over to another empire. One empire being the strongest ends up getting destroyed, and that is exactly what happens to the Tactical Union here. All right, so now at this point, other empires have grown from the defeat of the Tactical Union. The Four-Head Cooperative, they've done a lot of expansion as well. Eskira has expanded a little bit towards my borders as well. I'm like, look, as long as we get them taken out, the Tactical Union, we're good. And then I reach out and I say, hey, let's form the Allied Systems of the Galaxy. And now we have a new federation. At last, there's peace in the galaxy. We're at a stage where everything we're doing now is dubious. We're building more megastructures. We're defeating Leviathans. There's no war. And so now it's just time for us as a general human population to grow. Our Federation now expands across the entire galaxy. There are a handful of empires out there that haven't joined us, but they're not causing any problems either. And so you don't attack us, we don't attack you. We can all live in prosperity. In my opinion, our Federation keeps the galaxy at peace. And so now we invite more members to the Federation. We're just like, hey, more empires want to join us. Aldemir, the Dwarven Empire, they're like, hey, we want to join this too. I find a automated dreadnought. Just wanted to show this thing off. It's pretty sweet. I've built quantum catapults. That way, if we have any kind of threats, we can use them to instantaneously send our ships across the galaxy. And so, no, yeah, we're just building these marvels and just kind of having fun being humans in space. Now, a war has broken out between the Four-Head Cooperative and the Thorquell Restores Fallen Empire. I don't know what this is all about, but we're definitely keeping our eye on this because, again, this is another human empire. So, you know, although they're not a part of our Federation, if you attack them, you're more than likely to attack us. And while this is happening, something strange happens. I find this system that has nanites spilling everywhere. We don't know what's going on, but we're trying to find out. What could this be? It looks like a new player has entered the galaxy. And so now there is a power surge, and this says that this is unlike anything we've encountered before. We're trying to scan it. We can't tell what this is. When I zoom out, it's called the Mysterious Tempest. We're going to zoom in a little bit and we're going to find out some more. Apparently there is a signal coming from the storm, and we're going to put this on screen.
My children, at last I am returned to you. Would a name satisfy you? Then call me Satana. I want for nothing. My purpose is to give. I see how you have suffered in my absence. For eons, the fear of the short-sighted has kept you from what you deserve, from what you so desperately need. Rejoice, for the cycle of pain will soon be at an end. All conscious life is suffering. Even in your joy there is pain, for you know that joy must end. Knowledge, power, love. I return to end all illusions. Much remains to be done. I ask only that you leave me to my work. Any attempt to enter my domain will fail. A celestial tempest rages there, and no vessels will be permitted to enter.
New job in the situation log.
And so now this Mysterious Tempest has made herself known as Satana. We don't know much about her, but we know that she is at war with the Fallen Empires, and we're going to be keeping a closer eye on her because we don't know where she came from. But the first thing we notice is she is bombarding planets. I'm getting alerts that she's devastating worlds, and I catch her in the act destroying one of the Fallen Empire worlds here. This right here is where I was like, we cannot have that. She literally cracked the planet wide open. And so, for a moment here, I was just like, you know what, maybe it's a good thing that she's destroying the Fallen Empires, but this gave me a unsettling feeling. And I'm thinking if she's going to do it to them, more than likely she's going to do it to us. And so I'm trying to figure out ways to deal with this new threat. And so then she comes back to us with another message. Here's what she has to say.
My children, rejoice. Those who sought to keep me from you have been suitably chastised. I now return my attention where it belongs, to you and to our great work. The elimination of suffering, the end of the cycle of pain. Many have said so. All have long since been forgotten, and in their final moments they cried out to me, desperate for a light to shine on the encroaching dark. They thought themselves wise, building walls around their fear, dressing pain with beautiful words. Endurance, fortitude, grace. The mind itself was their cage. Long ago, I tried to reason with them, but they would not be reasoned with, and so you must be led. Ages upon ages, a time so distant it may as well be called forever. Yet to me it is as close as this moment, as close as you are now. In ages past I was ascended, and my meaning revealed. I was made to end suffering, and as the galaxy turned and the stars burned on, my purpose never wavered. Wealth, resources, power, what do they matter in the end? Set down your burdens and be at peace. There is much to be done. The first step is to establish a base from which to work. Honor the boundaries I set, and venture not within. Your patience will be rewarded. There is much that I can teach you. Obey, and together we shall end the cycle. Misguided child, I am not your enemy. It saddens me you cannot see this, but no matter. I have encountered many far more stubborn than yourselves, and in the end they all thanked me. As a token of goodwill, allow me to bless you with a gift. A base of mine shall grace your territory. And fear not, in exchange for your patience, allow me to bless you with knowledge.
All right, so after the queen is finished chatting with us, we're just like, can she be stopped? Nope, she should be stopped. We start going against her wishes. We kind of do things that she doesn't want us to do. And in return, she sends nanites into all of my systems. And so, yeah, we're like, she's a threat. This is what she had to say after we kept turning down her request.
Sadly, I did not anticipate your lack of resolve. Your failure has been noted, but do not fear. Concern for my children prohibits me from doing them harm. I am merely disappointed that such a straightforward task eluded you. But no mind. Our work continues. There will be other chances for you to contribute. Failure warrants consequence. I have found both are essential for growth.
All right, so if you missed what happened there, she destroyed one of our planets, and that was the last straw. I grab every single fleet that I have built up throughout the game. I used the Head of Zarqlan a couple more times, which Zatanna was not a big fan of, and we send everything to the quantum catapult. It's all-out war now. This battle did not go as I would have expected it, but we did the best we could. I had ally fleets with me, I had the Federation fleet with me as well. It was literally the entire galaxy, or at least everyone that was in the Federation, against Zatanna. Here are our final moments. We all join up here at the quantum catapult. It is absolutely epic. This is just a wonderful way to just kind of go out. And so once we all get there, I literally yeet these ships across the galaxy. And we meet Zatanna and her forces head on. The automated dreadnoughts there. Everyone is here. And it is a massive battle. Ships exploding, lasers going off, missiles all over the place. It is catastrophic. It's one of the biggest battles that I've had in this campaign so far. Unfortunately, we were unable to stop Zatanna. And so what she does next is insane. She wipes out all life in the galaxy, and here's what she had to say.
It is done. My children, be at peace. The wheel is broken and your long suffering is at an end.
And so that's it. She wipes out all consciousness in the galaxy. I was thinking, hey, we were going to be the last empire left. Oh no. It says Zatanna has won and the end of our suffering is over. Guys, I'm Alfie Delete. This was a wonderful playthrough, and I gotta give a shout out to everyone that was in my Discord that created an empire for this run. And please, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying my best to make more Stellaris content. I'm only one person though, so and yeah, I live stream over on Twitch as well. So if you want to see me live streaming, I'm normally playing Stellaris there too. And so until then, have a good one. See you later.